Each species on planet Earth has its own way of moving. Lions move like lions, turtles move like turtles. Now, of course, human beings, the most highly evolved physical specimens on Earth, our way of moving is to lift ourselves into verticality so that we can get our heads up to the highest point, so that we can see around us, and so that we can free our hands to do the things that we do. So our coordination has geared all the way up for that very, very purpose. And so each of us has inherited, when we were born, this incredible innate lifting ability to get our heads up to the highest point with the minimal of effort. And as infants and toddlers, we confirm that we are born with such a thing, because all infants and toddlers learn to sit beautifully, efficiently by the time they're 7, 8 months old. And as infants and toddlers, when we are employing our innate ability, we kind of all move the same way, because we're human beings, and human beings move in a particular way. And this is great. Unfortunately, it lasts a very short time. So here we are as infants and toddlers, 1 year old, sitting on the floor, our legs extended out in front of us, just bobbing up, sort of down, bouncing, taking the world in around us easily, effortlessly. But we're looking all around, and we see everybody around us, sitting back in their chairs, and sofas, and car seats. What are we to make of this? We don't really have any conception that, oh, we're sitting beautifully, easily, nicely, we don't want to lose this. I mean, we're 1 year old. What are we to make of seeing everybody? Well, it seems clear what we're to make of it. We're to make of it that this is us, this is what we're going to be doing, this is what human beings do. We're learning a very, very, very bad lesson from people who actually know no better, really. They don't know what they're modeling, but they're modeling something very bad for young infants. And so this is a kind of learning that we all go through. I call it implicit learning. Well, I don't call it implicit learning. Somebody else called it implicit learning. And implicit learning means that we're not even aware that we're learning it. We're just learning it by taking in these images all around. And so this normalizing, this seeing everybody sitting back, the normalizing of it, by the time we start doing it when we're 3 or 4 years old, after being these physical dynamos at ages 1 through 3, just bopping around, just the way human beings are able to move. When we develop the musculature that allows us to lower ourselves gradually and to pull ourselves off the chair back, we just start doing it. And of course, the amazing thing is that when we start doing it, our subconscious adjustments enable us to keep seeing the world as if nothing at all is happening. And so it's not surprising that we just take it all for granted. We don't feel it. Throwing our weight back, we don't even know we're throwing our weight back. We're bending our spines, we don't even know that. We're tensing in the psoas to go back and to come forward, and we don't really know any of it. And that this is something that we all go through. It's mind-boggling to me to this day. And that somehow I was able to escape out of that is amazing, and we're going to go into that in a little more detail later. As we transition from infants and toddlers sitting buoyantly, beautifully, efficiently, to slumpers at age 5, massive slumpers at age 5. We make this transition from the sublime to the ridiculous because of a profound kinesthetic disconnect. We don't notice that we are no longer going straight down, that we're sending our body mass on a backwards downward trajectory. We don't notice this. And by not noticing this, we also don't notice all the reactions to this that keep us functional, that keep us able to see what we want to see out in front of us. We've lost We've lost this vital connection between how we go down and how we go up. We really were connected with this as infants and toddlers. But when we started going back and sitting in chairs, we were able to keep our heads up. But we did not have the slightest clue how it happens. Our kinesthetic disconnect is culture-wide. We've all gone through this. We've all been infants and toddlers sitting beautifully, seeing everybody around us sitting back, not knowing. We've all been through this. And as a result of it being a culture-wide problem, where everybody is disconnected from this experience, no one's in a position to discuss these elements and to see, well, what is the connection? Is there a connection between how we go down and how we go up? Why isn't anybody asking that question? Well, we're not asking that question because we got disconnected at a very young age and we decided that no, there's no importance to how we go down. It doesn't affect how we go up. I'm sitting here, I'm looking at you, I'm talking to you, I'm going up. Well, I'm sitting here looking at you and going up the same way. Nothing's happening. Well, this is a mistake. Of course, there's a lot happening. Because of this collective ignorance, this widespread ignorance that we all embraced at such a very young age, tuning out in such a very big way, this has left us without a language, a way how to talk about it. The closest word in the English language is the word leaning. So here I am, leaning back against the chair. Everybody would call this leaning. Now my idea is that we commit our weight. And so here I'm committing my weight backwards, and this backwards weight commitment causes me to end up leaning against this chair. And everybody sees this as leaning. But if I do this, nobody would see this as leaning. This is not leaning. So here's what I've identified. I've identified that if I'm back here with my weight committed backwards, leaning back against here, and I pull myself up, I haven't done anything at all to change my backwards weight commitment. My backwards weight commitment is still there. I can pull myself, I can use muscular effort to overpower it, but that doesn't change it. If I'm going back there, that's why I have to work so hard to hold myself up, because underneath it, I'm going back here. And as soon as this muscular effort tires out, I'm going to go back there. So I call this weight commitment, and it doesn't depend on an outward appearance like leaning. If somebody's leaning, they're leaning, it's obvious, it's an outward behavior. But this is an inner leaning, call it an inner leaning, that we're actually leaning, but we don't know that we're leaning because we don't feel the muscular effort. When it gets too tired, we just go back. We don't think about it, we just go back. Unless it hurts. And then when it starts hurting, then we start to take notice. But the solutions we have to it, none of the solutions actually deal with the root problem. And so they can't really be good solutions unless they're dealing with the root problem. And the root problem is that we're trying to focus out in front of us while we're sending our weight backwards. And this is not a good idea. Posture is a very popular term in our culture. A way we often discuss human physicality. It's important to remember, however, that posture is a man-made concept. Seeing human motor coordination through the lens of posture makes it more difficult to understand why we sit so poorly. What good is the idea of posture if I can show you that I'm leaning back, I'm continuing to lean back, and I'm sitting here making all this enormous effort to sit up straight, but to everybody, I have excellent posture. What good is the concept of posture if this can be so? If I could be sitting up here with so much effort and people would say, oh, great, wow, you have really good posture. As we go about our daily lives, moment to moment, we are not maintaining any particular shape. We're not maintaining a posture. We would have no shape if we weren't lifting ourselves up. We would just be a pile of flesh and bones on the ground. Lifting precedes any shape. The important thing is, how well or how poorly, how efficiently or how inefficiently are we lifting ourselves? Are we getting our heads up?